Om Ashato Ma Sadgamaya Tamasho Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Aviravir Maili Rudro Jatte Dakshinam Mukham Te Namang Pahi Nityam Te Namang Pahi Nityam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. And evermore shine in our hearts with your resplendent face. Oh, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So we are in the chapter 7, and here Arjuna was asking the question, what is the object which you call Atman, which should be the goal of our attainment, which is called by the Brahmagyanis as Brahman, and Brahmagyanis understand them to be a part of their own self. Then in response, Sri Bhagavan said that there is Angushtamatra Purusha Hritpadmejo Vyavastita, in the thumb-like shape, that there is a lotus in which this effulgent self manifests. And tamatmanam chubettaram vidhi buddhya susukshma. You know that is your Atman, but not by your dull intellect, but by the pure intellect, which is purified intellect. Try to understand that. And that is called in the Upanishads the Atman, which resides in the heart. And what is the difference between this cosmic self or Brahman and the individual self, Atma? It is like the Mahakasa and Ghatakasa, the cosmic space and the space within the jar. You place a jar in the entire cosmos, the space pervaded is the same space as is permeated and pervaded inside the pot and outside the pot. So, but this pot within, that is called the Atma, pot outside, that is called the Brahman. But they're not different because they're one and the same. So give that example. And further, this discussion came that that unchangeable consciousness, Kutastha Chaitanya, which buddhi antastham, when it is intellect, in that it reflects, then that is called the jiva. So who is jiva? Same sun, when reflected in the little pot, and you see one reflected sun. So each body and inside the mind and intellect, and in the intellect the consciousness gets reflected, and that reflection gives the idea, I am intelligent person, I do this, I work. So that consciousness permeates there, but it's a reflected consciousness. It is not. It's the reflected sun, not the real sun. Real sun is unchanging all the time, self-luminous. But the reflected sun depends on the pot, depends on the water. Is it clear water, darker water, muddy water, colored water? The reflection will appear so different. This is all reflection. Jiva. They are called the jiva. Very thing to be understood that what is jiva and Brahman is nothing, no difference. It is only the reflected consciousness. And when the reflected consciousness is no more reflecting, the pot is broken, then what happens? The reflected sun goes where? It does not go, it does not come. But still, if you had to say the language, this reflected sun which you are seeing in the pot goes back to the sun. that self-luminous, which is unchanging all the time. But change came, and we thought I am a jiva, individual. When? In the reflection happened, and that reflection happened in the buddhi. And that buddhi, avachilna, buddhi avachilna, they reflected in the buddhi, that is the jiva. They say, I consciousness comes, my mind comes, my understanding comes, my memory comes, and then comes this physical body. And that is called the pragyanam, gayanti, tacha. That is called the pragyanam. When ananda brahma sabdabhyam visheshana visheshitam srinoti yena janati pashyati cha vijikriti sadhu asad aswadanam vijanati shitoshna adikam tat chaitanyam vedana rupam tat sarvo vedana asrayam Lakshanam Shuddha Chaitanyam Kutastham Lakshaya Shruti. So Upanishad always points out to that Shuddha Chaitanya, pure consciousness, which is unchanging Kutastham, which cannot be indicated by anything, and that is the nature of Chaitanya, consciousness, and that is the source of all Vedana. Vedana means all perception of happiness, pleasure, pain, heat, cold, all the dualities is perceived by what consciousness? That's why he said, Srinoti yena, by which consciousness I hear, I can see, Pashyati, Biji Kriti, smelling, Sadhu Aswadam Bijanati, it is sweet or it is not, it is understood. Sita Usno Adikam, cold and heat, all are understood. That means the function of the five sense organs are happening Jadara, by that. What is that? That is the actually Brahman. But it's the reflected consciousness affects here. Satchidananda is there unturned. But this reflected, when it's reflected in my buddhi, it's called I am that jiva. And that when it is reflected in the buddhi, that reflection percolates through all our perceptions. So that much we read 8 verse. Today 9 we will read. This is technical area, so we need not have to go too much now. So it is always our perception happens what? Our knowledge happens what? According to Patanjali, there is an object outside. But what object is there, we do not know. Vedanta and Patanjali's idea will be that one vritti, one type of mental modification, it comes out to the eyes, falls on the object, and then that takes an impression, comes back. And then it goes through the sensory organs to the brain, to the mind, to the intellect, to the ego. And then when there creates a ripple in my lake of mind, and when this flash of light of the Atman falls over that vritti drops. And we say, I know that object. So knowing is happening here inside. That is vritti jnana. It's called vritti jnana. I see the table, I see the paper, I see the light. These are all modification. Mind is having modifications, different modifications. And that is, modification is not enough. But it should be lighted. There should be some light. In darkness, something is jumping. I don't see anything unless you bring a light. What is the light there? That's the Upanishad teaches, by which you perceive all your experiences. And that happens in the mind lake. And then that mind, when that wave comes, that is also not known. When the flash of light falls, Pratibimbito, that is reflected consciousness, illumines that wave, then we say, I know. Knowledge comes and vritti is dropped. That's a technical thing. Vritti means that ripple which is formed in the surface of the ocean. In my mind, calm mind, there is no vritti. That's the very high level. It happens only in sleep, susupti, or in samadhi. But all the other time, tada drashtu swarupa avasthanam, Patanjali says. And in other times, vritti sarupam itaratra. Patanjali Yoga says, all the time, it mind becomes with the equally the vritti. Vritti sarupam. It is the proximity of the vritti, that as is the vritti, so is my knowledge. So our all the time, when you are in samadhi, tada drushtu swarupya avasthanam. You remain in your eternal self-knowledge, sarupa. But other time, vritti sarupam itaratro. We all ordinary people, we are always living in vritti. I looking this side, this chair. I'm looking that side, that clock, that side, photograph. Wherever I'm looking, immediately what is happening? A ripple is formed in my mind. It happens so fast. We do not understand this process. As I said, there is Western science and Patanjali's difference is that Western science will say there is an object, rays of light falls upon that, and that is reflected in my retina, and that reflected image is carried by the nervous system to the brain, and brain then perceives it, what is what, analyzing. Vedanta or Patanjali will say nothing outside you do not know. Outside is unknown and unknowable. But what happens when my mind comes out of my eyes, as it were, and it falls, catches the object, a glimpse of the object, and comes back, and then takes the same reverse process, going inside and going to the mind and brain to the mind. And then there it reflects the shape, what I see outside, some image is created inside me. And that image is lighted by the light of Abhasa Chaitanya. That means the reflected consciousness is that light falls on that. As a result, that object I perceive, and when the vritti drops, another vritti comes. And then he says, oh, I saw the watch, I saw the person, I saw the door is open. Huh? So it's split second it's happening, and split, infinite number of vritti is always like jumping in our mind. And that's why chanchal, mind is very restless.
Is reflected consciousness same as ego?
Yeah, a reflected consciousness actually is that main chitta. Better term is that's why they use the term chitta. It is happening in the chitta. Chitta is considering, to make us understand, it's like a lake, and everything falling here is just like a Swami Vivekananda says, throwing a stone. I see you, that image is coming and created in me. It is like a stimulating agent, like a stone, and it creates a ripple like bala in me. And that immediately the light which is inside already, the reflected light, that flashes on this. It happens in the chitta. Or it's called mind. We are simplifying it by using the word mind. So chitta vritti, this vritti. And what is spirituality? Chitta vritti nirodha. No vrittis anymore. But we are bombarded with infinite number of vrittis every split second. And how many times the mind is creating such vrittis? But this vrittis creation is not enough. There should be some light, and that is the Chidabhasa. The Abhasa, the light of Atman, falling on the mind and creating that image, giving us the idea of XYZ, all the 24 objects of the world. That's why we have read up to 8 verse 9 says, Buddhya avachinna chaitannam vrittiyarudham jada bhavit jnana sabdabhidam tarhi tena chaitanya bodhanam. So, but it says that in that point of time, say that buddhi avachinna chaitanya. That's it. It's very hard language. This part is always hard for anyone. Those who are reading Vedanta Sara or Yoga, what is called the Patanjali, this terminology is always will make their brain little hazy. But main thing is that buddhi te avachinna, which in the buddhi, reflected in the buddhi, that is the actually the real sun is somewhere else. Its reflection is creating this image. When it becomes standing on the vritti, then it is called jnana. I know the subject. Why? How do you know? Well, I saw that object. How do you see it? Something came. Eh, by seeing, by hearing, by tasting, by touching. You know it's a bad smell. Well, how do you know? I smell it. How do you smell? Some smell or something outside entered to your nose. It's the same process, nervous system carried to the brain, and then that previous memory is a Buddhist function. It brings out and then is lighted by the light of the reflected consciousness, gives a in idea, oh, it is good, it is bad. No? So all the perceptions of the five senses are happening this way. As a result, mind is always running into one wave after another wave after another wave. And when it is done, then it is called the Vritti Avachana Jnana. I say, I saw it, I heard, I know it has happened. I heard it, I saw in my eyes, I touch it, I taste it. It is, I know it is so hot or it is so spicy. How do you know? You touch it, tongue, carrying the sensation in that way. But the knowledge is coming because of that reflected consciousness upon the perception. So this is the buddhi avachinna chaitanyam. When the buddhi dara avachinna is limited, that consciousness limited by the buddhi, vritti arurang, it is arising because of the vritti. Then we say that this is the object. But how do you say it is table? How do you say it is light? How do you say it is a bulb? That special knowledge comes because of the vritti, and it matches with our old memory. And then it gives the light, falls upon that, gives the idea, and that idea is called Jnana Sabda. It is defined as the knowledge. The consciousness, limited by the intellect, when mounted upon the mental modifications, vritti, is named as knowledge. And then the revelation of consciousness happens through this process. That's when that the consciousness means you know that knowing is a part of consciousness. Jada vritti pramaneno vishayenaikat vrajet vritti vishaya chaitanya ekattena palodaya tada vritti laye prapti jnanam chaitanyameva tat prabodhanaya chaitanyam jnana shaktina pratyati. So now the knowledge is what? Is saying 9, 10 and 11. There is your 10 and 11. The pages are wrongly bunched. Anyhow, huh? Okay. So, Jada, when Vritti Pramanana, by the proof of this vritti, the ripple of the mind, when it gets Vishayena ekotang bhajit, with the object and this impression gets together, vritti Vishaya Chaitanya ekatyena phalodaya. So vritti Vishaya, the consciousness about the object in which the vritti has been risen, it brings this result. And as a result, when the vritti gets dissolved, then the knowledge of the consciousness comes up. And then we say that is Jnana Sabda, I know this object as such and such. 12 verse says, Sinoshi Bhikshase Jat Jat Tatra Samvidanuttama Anushutataya Bhati Tattat Sarva Prakashika. Now, Sinoshi, I know, I hear. Bhikshase, I see. Jat Jat Tatra, wherever it is happening, I hear, I see, etc. These are called consciousness. Sambid Anuttama. This is the action of the Sambit consciousness. Consciousness is giving us the knowledge that I hear, I saw, I tasted, I touched, I smelled, all these things. And but consciousness is permeated. Anushutataya bhati. It permeates everything. Consciousness, without consciousness, no perception, no seeing, no feeling, no hearing, no tasting, no touching. And tat sarva prakashika. Whatever the ripple happens in our mind, every ripple, good or bad, it does not discriminate. It reveals everything. It is light as light does. Light does not discriminate. Ramakrishna said, someone is reading Bhagavat under the light lamp, and someone is forging some forgery. The light is indifferent. Light illumines that forgery machine and all the process. And light also illumines this written thing in the Bhagavat holy text. So consciousness does not discriminate whether you are seeing some good vritti, noble vritti, or evil vritti. To the light of consciousness, it is no separation. Hey, why not sit? I can see. Right. Therefore, but you understand, Sambidang tang vicharena chaitanyam avadharet. Here is a great spiritual practice is given here. That sambid means the awareness, tang vicharena by analyze. It is nothing but chaitanya, nothing but consciousness. Reflected consciousness, you are saying reflected because of the water. Mind is there, but it is the consciousness. So you know that you are experiencing everything by consciousness. Satchidananda. And that is Tatra Pashyasi. Jad Vastu Janami iti vivasate. Tathi Sangbida Prabhavena Vigyayam Sarupam Tata. Therefore, you know that whatever you see, whatever you hear, it is only you are dealing with the consciousness. The same absolute consciousness is fragmented and is coming as a objective world of name and form, and your perception of happiness, pleasure, pain, everything is coming. Therefore, you have to understand is the play of consciousness. So this is this way analyzing the individual person's all conception, all feelings, all emotions are guided by the ground of consciousness, Satchidananda. That's called Atman, that's called Brahman. Therefore, you have to discard everything. Sarvam nirasya. Now, anything you see, anything you hear, anything you feel, you have to discard everything. Sarvam nirasya. Why nirasya? Because it is a drishyatvat. It is an object. I see. Subject object. If I see, I feel, I teach, I taste, I touch. That means something external you are doing all these things. It is a drishya. and drashta, drisho and drashta, drisho. But this always drashta is consciousness. Drisho is always jara. So you have to get out of all these experiences of duality because it is all jara. What three point has given? Drishatvat, because it is a sub object, you can objectify it. Anatmatvat, it is not self-conscious and it is jara, inert. So three ground has been given that you can discard every experiences of yours as not the consciousness because it is drishya, it is a subject. You can see the object, objectify it. First point, objectification. Second point, it is not the self-conscious Atman. Third, it is jara, inert. And discarding this, avacchinnam atmanam viddhi. Now understand that Atman is the same, continuous, all through your experience. That means in every experience, you are experiencing the Atman. That is called pratibodha viditam. It's a very, how by through the analysis, they are bringing to this consciousness that you are dealing with God and God day and night. Your every behavior, every understanding, every feeling, every emotion, they are nothing but a play of consciousness. So in a prati bodha, in every bodha, in every perception, viditam, you are experiencing that Atman, that consciousness. Only not knowing. If you that's why Viddhi, you try to know. How will you know? Su suksmaya diya. You have to refine your buddhi. Not only refine, supremely refined mind is necessary. Supremely pure understanding is necessary. So change your understanding. What you are thinking that you are experiencing the objective world, there is no objective world. That objective world, what is that is in the mind only. I do not know what is outside. I am saying it is hard, but its experience is inside. So all the experiences happening in the vritti, and vritti when drops, then only knowledge comes up. Because another vritti will be arising. You have to make space for another vritti. So one vritti drops, another vritti comes, another vritti, another vritti. So knowledge of this, knowledge of that, knowledge of that, knowledge of that. But through all the knowledge, it is the light of consciousness. That is the object, and that is the self. And we are experiencing everything through, in and through God and God only, in a dualistic language, Vedantic language, through Atman, to Brahman. You cannot breathe without, you are breathing through Atman. You are feeling that you are alive through Atman. You are feeling headache, that is Atman. All the experiences of your life is happening because of that consciousness. So, but this is so clear, intellectually sometimes it becomes a little clear, but it needs experience. And that experience is happening. But we have to direct our understanding in this line. We have to train our mind to think in this way that all my experiences is happening because of the consciousness. And consciousness is giving me the perception of the object outside, whether it is good or bad, whether I like it, whether I dislike it. All this perception. With the help of your extremely subtle intellect, after expelling every single thing because of their quality of being an object, their non-self nature, and their inertness, know that self capital, which is separated from everything else. It is all Atman, the real Atman, not the Jivatman, but it is that Paramatman, Supreme Self. Ya sambit saiva hi asvatma chaitanyam brahma nishchinu tam padasya chalakshantaj gyatavyam guru vakyata. But it is very difficult to understand. That's why he said, Ya sambit, that consciousness, that which is consciousness, and that is your Atman. That consciousness is your own Atman. Don't think it is someone's consciousness. It is you, Chaitanya, and that is called the conscious self, and that is, the other name is Brahman. Brahma, Nishchinu. For certain you know that is called Brahman, that is called Chaitanya, that is your own Atma, that consciousness which you are feeling to the Vishaya, the sense objects. Understand what we are going through? Or it is too high, going over the head. Yeah. I am seeing you. This is a material experience. But here it is proving this experience is no matter. It is only consciousness. Because that we are perceiving everything through the power of that consciousness. To that light, we are seeing everything. To the light of consciousness, I feel, I experience, I, I am happy, I'm unhappy. All that the multiple behavior of us is happening because of that conscious play. So it is play of consciousness, and there is only consciousness. It is to be understood. So, Ya Sanbid, that which is Sanbid, that which is awareness, our awareness about table, chair, floor, roof, sky, sun, moon, stars, all this experience, day-to-day experience, we are aware of this, we are aware of this, we are aware. But with all this awareness is nothing but that consciousness. It's a fragmented form of that cosmic consciousness appearing as awareness. I'm aware of your presence here. I'm aware that you are here, have not come in, did not come today. So this awareness is nothing but that same consciousness, only in split form, split form. And that is the Tvam Pada selection. Tat Tvam Asi. Vedantic great dictum. Tvam Pada, when someone says thou or you, what do you mean by you? You is indicated, its indicative meaning is that sambit, that consciousness, that which is in and out, and that which gives us the perception of limited other objects. All other objects are perceived because by the light of that consciousness. But you have to understand there's a very subtle analysis. Tam touch gyatabam, that is to be realized by Guru Vakkata, listening from the teacher, who are accomplished people, day and night, Sravana, Manana, and Nididhasa. You have to practice, you have to listen day and night. It is true, abstruse. We have this discussion whenever comes. It means something little, but most of the thing is, it has no value. It does not enter. It's like as we said that there are, Yoga Vasishta says, 3 types or 4 types of buddhi. One buddhi is that you, like a nail, pathar, stone buddhi. You try to put a nail, it does not enter, it goes out, let's say. Then another buddhi is there, pathar buddhi. Next buddhi is like a rubber. A rubber buddhi, you just do it, just touch it. As soon as you leave it, it falls down. It is just fall down here. Third type of buddhi is called the
Skin light.
skin lie. Yeah. In the skin, you put some pin, it holds sometimes. But after sometimes it also fall down. A little enter, birth. Then is another type is water,
Oil.
oil. You put oil in the water, it does not mix up. It spreads over the surface and goes inside. That is the buddhi we needed. But our buddhi, it is very difficult to all this. That's the analysis, Vedantic analysis, Mahavakya Vichar. So this is to be day and night thought that I am seeing you. It is only a vritti in my heart. And that vritti is lighted by the light of consciousness. One vritti appears, another vritti appears, another vritti appears, jumping, jumping, jumping. All those vrittis are created. All my experiences of multiple things are happening. By what? By one light, one consciousness. You have to understand that. And when you say you are that, you means not this body mind, but that consciousness which is all the time there for knowing and not for knowing. You say, I know this, there is that consciousness. When you say, I don't know, there is a consciousness. Otherwise, how do you know that you do not know? When you say, I know, I understand there is a need of some consciousness. But to say, I do not know, that also you need some consciousness. That's why when we go to deep sleep, our external consciousness goes, but the internal consciousness, which is the Atman, it does not go anywhere. It is all the time awake. That's why it says God does not sleep. We put God to bed at 10 o'clock. That's how humanizing God. But when he sleeps, he is sleeping here. But in India, he is awake. In Japan, they all time change everywhere. So where is his time for sleeping? You put bed here, or you put in Japan, or put here. You are putting here. He is waking up. Here you get up in the early morning. Oh Lord, get up, get up, get up. And that's the time of other place. They're putting the Lord to bed. Lord, sleep, sleep, sleep. But Lord does not sleep. Lord was always awake. That's why it's called God never sleeps. That is the consciousness never goes away. Whether I am awake, that time all the vrittis, they are reflected consciousness. And that needs the real consciousness should be there. And how the reflection will come. Suppose there is no sun in the sky, reflected consciousness will happen. You keep 100 jars and you will see the sun reflected there. No, main sun is not here. But that means sun is all the time there. Now I understand you, I see you, I talk to you, I feel your presence, whatever I do, all these experiences are awakens time. Sleeping time, when you go to dream, that time also, I dreamed last night. It was a bad dream, good dream, whatever I was really horrified with the dream. But somebody as consciousness is still there. Consciousness permeating all the experiences. The reflected consciousness, they are also happening in the dream time. And when you go to sleep time, what happens? You say, I do not know. But to say, I do not know, there is a noir. Others who will say, I do not know. So therefore, you see that consciousness continuously moving on. That's the famous verse of the Panchadoshi. Ma sabdo jugakalpeshu gatagameshu anekadha naudeti nastameti shambhidesha sayam prabha. That sayam prabha, self-luminous, that sambhit, that consciousness, what we are talking about, that is all the time there. Month may go away, days may go away, week may go away, month may pass, 12 years, 100 years, time passes, but that consciousness never comes, or sun, like the sun sets, sun rises. Does sun rise? Does sun set? It is our conception. Sun is all the time there. Similarly, that consciousness is all the time. Whether we sleep, whether we are awake, whether I am angry, whether I am not angry, everything to express that consciousness is necessary. And that is the meaning of you. That's why it says, Tan padasya tan laksham. So that part. And now this is to be Guru Vakkoto. You have to listen from an expert teacher who practices this day and night, or who have illuminated themselves with this knowledge. They know what they're talking. Huh? This is very hard because we never meditate on these things. You start meditating from tomorrow, then you'll feel that yes, it makes sense. At least intellectually, you'll find it makes sense. All my perception is happening because of the consciousness. There is no other power, no other force which gives us experience of the world. It is because of that. That's why it's called Vishayananda. Ramakrishna said it is Vishayananda. Ananda is there all the time. When coming to the Vishaya, it's called Vishayananda. Coming to the bhajan, it is Bhajanananda. And when no bhajan, no Vishaya, it is Brahmananda. That Ananda. So this is a very deep subject and a whole life's struggle, what we are talking about. To understand this, the whole life, the sadhus or Vedantins who are staunch Vedanta followers, the day and night thinking of this truth. And every time thinking the vritti, how the vritti is happening, how the vritti is dropping, and knowledge is coming, and then what light is there, and that light is the same light inside, outside, and continuously thinking that is my Atman, and that is my real. Everything coming and going, all experiences are coming and going, but that consciousness, that light is here all the time. It is unmoving, unchanging, and that is to be understood. That's why people take sannyas, monastic vows, and that time they get from the gurus. And Guru then gives, now art that, Tat Tamasi, Shetuketu, oh Shetuketu, you are that, thou art that. Why thou art that? That, who is that? Thou means what? Not this body mind, but it is the consciousness through which you are experiencing everything of your life, your existence, your pain, your suffering, your joy, your pleasure, your all this heat, cold, hunger, thirst, good, bad, everything is lighted by the light of that consciousness. And that is you and that light, not the experiences. So it is to be understood. Tad jnatavyam guru vakkata. By Guru's words, listen, Sravana, then sit down and hours dwell on that. That is the path of Vedantic path. And then dive deep into that and go to that consciousness. Stand on that consciousness. Go down all my experiences, how it is happening, how the vrittis are being formed, how the vritti is getting dissolved, and the knowledge of that is coming out, and thinking that every vritti behind that is that light of consciousness. Deep in that consciousness, dive deep into that consciousness, and feel that this consciousness is me. That day and night thinking, then that awareness will come. Now, এখন this is the subjective, that is tam, thou. Now, ঘটাকাশো মহাকাশো ইব জানিহি চৈকতাম akhondattam bhavedaikkam gyatva brahmamayo bhavo. Now, as Ghatakaso, the space contained within a pitcher, and Mahakaso, the great space, they are all same, is it not? So, we put a jar here, the space inside the jar, and the space outside the jar. Is there any difference? No, it is the same space. As they are same, as the great space, the vast space, and the limited space created by our body mind complex, this space remaining the same. Ibo jani hicho ekotam, as they're one. Similarly, you know, akhandatang bhave doikam gyatva brahmamayo bhav. You know this way that that's this unbroken unity of consciousness between you and the cosmic. There's only one consciousness everywhere. And gyatva, knowing this, you become brahmamaya. You become one with the Brahman. That means you feel that this individual consciousness and cosmic consciousness, there is no difference. This is the only you can know that I am Atman. That may be one knowledge. But you have to know that this Atman is the same as the cosmic consciousness. Jivatma, Paramatma, Oikko, the unity of the Jivatman and the Paramatma. Or thinking of the Ghata Akasa, Mahakasa, the space within the Ghata and the space outside. There is no distinction in the space. Only when you're putting a limited adjunct of a jar, so limited adjunct of a body. This body, gross body, subtle body, causal body. But it interpenetrates and permeates everything permeated by that one consciousness. That is the consciousness. Think of that. Feel that.
There are questions.
What a question.
Actually, on the question.
Okay, so we can end here then. So, main point is that it is a subject to be meditated upon. It is dry when you intellectually try to understand it, but giving deeper thought, it becomes much lighter. That's why it is said Guru Vakkato, listening from the Guru, one have to day and night work on that. Sravana Manana Nididhasana. Guru's words one time he'll say, thou art that, finish. Huh? And then your whole life, your work. So how am I that? How my every consciousness, every awareness of everything I am doing, it is nothing but that absolute consciousness. And I am that consciousness. Individual and that cosmic are one. There is no difference. That's why spiritual life also, when people go to Samadhi, as we hear, say Swami Totapuri had the experience and he is here, one, no? And that established in that consciousness. But in the cosmic level, what is happening? It is not yet palpable as he was in Samadhi state. That's why he could not reconcile the external. That's why Thakur has to give a complimented experience of that. That this consciousness and that consciousness, there is no bad guy coming to take my dhuni fire or hubble bubble. No. The hubble bubble is Brahman, the charcoal is Brahman, the chimta, tongue is Brahman, the person who is taking it Brahman, who is running after him is Brahman. No? But that awareness with that combination is necessary. Anyhow. Now, what is the question now? So we end here. We've ended on verse 16. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tassat Sri Ramakrishna Panamastu. Oh my God. We read this November 29, 2022. 1 year again after we are here. Oh.
Tomorrow is about class.
Huh?
What's the class tomorrow?
Tomorrow is your gospel class. I talk with Medananda.
Eh?
Tomorrow is your gospel.
No.
I ask him.
Tomorrow is board meeting.
Yes. No, the bulletin says 29th is
Meeting.
Medananda.
হ্যাঁ তাও তো জানো না আচ্ছা
I ask
যাই হোক anyhow tomorrow gospel class so who will give I don't know now okay
At least the bulletin says Medananda.
can you talk about when people say there are two in the heart is it the buddhi and atman is this why brahman is called that through which all is known I do not know who says two in the heart. I maybe the word I do not know. But no, we have discussed about it. Well, is it the buddhi and Atman? In a person who is two, there is no two, there is only one. At a Vedanta student will say, Brahman, if you say two, yes, that consciousness is also there and physical also there. In that sense, you can say two. But this physical is non-existing. So you cannot say there are two. There is only one. Are both bondage and liberation false? Because Atman simply is, and we cannot apply the upadi of bondage and liberation to it. Is the word Atman used here same as Brahman? Yes. At the highest level, there is no bondage, there is no freedom. Neither liberation, neither bondage. Swamiji sang in the Sannasi's song. Uh, whose whose bondage, whose freedom, no? There is but one. If there is only one, then who will be free from what? Two, when there is duality, then there is question of bondage. So in Brahman, in Atman, there is no bondage. Both bondage and liberation are really illusion. Why? Not to us. We are bound, so we know. You say a strong word, my all joy will go away this moment. All Brahman Atman will go away. You say some sweet word, I will be in the high heaven. So for me, it is all there. It is not delusion. It is not illusion. But for a person of experience, they see, what are these? These are no existence. It is only vritti. What is vritti? What is that to me? It is a vritti jnana. So what is that to me? You say you are sitting here and the film is moving on and the projection is going on. Huh? So when the projection is going on and these things are coming one after another, what's that to you? It is something happening in the screen. And you are in that delusion, you are seeing multiplicity. Suppose a dazzling 1,000-watt lamp is put in front of the screen. You will not see any of the projections, no? When the knowledge of the self will come, that Atman will be growing in its own divine glory, all this delusion will vanish. Where is delusion? Where is good? Where is bad? Who is to be cursed? Who is cursing? Who is to be blamed? Bless. Who will bless? Whom will bless? There is no one to blame. There is no one to praise. There is nothing pure. There is nothing impure in that state. Only one absolute Satchidananda remains. But in our state, yes. And we cannot apply the upadi of bondage and liberation to it. Yeah, we are under bondage, we are under we are trying for liberation. Atman here, when Atman is used as Brahman, this individual consciousness and the cosmic, simple thing to remember, Mahakasa Ghatakasa. Very simple example, beautiful example. If we understand that, what is this cosmic Brahman and what is the individual consciousness, cosmic consciousness? It is like a ghata, akasa, space contained in the ghata, and the mahakasa, grand, great space. That is the thing. Does our physical perception only perceived upadhis. Yes, physical perception, we are always upadhis. Till even God vision, you see God, that's also upadhi, pure upadhi. We see the material world, no? That is our ignorance. But when the mind becomes pure and pure, you see higher and higher divine entities. And then you see gods and goddesses, Ramakrishna said. But still in the range of mind. So when until mind totally dissolves, vritti stops totally. Tadadrashtu, that second verse is very important. The whole life's practice is to stop this ripple of the mind. If that is done, meditation process, Raja Yoga does that way, Vedanta does in another way, Bhakti does in another way. Bhakti says, I am nothing, nothing, nothing. Just thinking of, oh Lord, then in a big way, no? And big way, and then thinking of that when you get absorbed, you don't see. You enter into the big wave. Will you make a distinction between the ocean or wave? You do not know it is. You are in the wave only. You are in the water only. So, physical perception only perceived to the this limiting or adjuncts, upadhis. Yes. Sometimes being a personality and identifying with it seems quite natural and fun. But also it hurts us. How do we let go of the parts of our ego that we cherish? It's meaning that sometimes being a personality and identifying with it seems quite natural.
It is the extension is there.
Sometimes being a personality, meaning we are a person, being a personality, and then we identify with it, with all these experiences, seems quite natural. Yes, true. So long you are in the body, so long you see, hear, you identify with all these objects. But also it hurts us. Of course it will hurt. It gives you joy also. Why it only hurting? You get a good food, your tongue says good, and you say, ha ha, good. You see a beautiful sunset or sunrise, you say, ha ha ha, good. Uh, you see a beautiful flower in the flowering garden and you enjoy the beauty of the nature, ha ha, you may say. Also, terribly hard. Someone's behavior, someone's words, it will happen so long we are. That's why don't have to deal with the world unless you touch that soul, that is Atma. How do we let go of the parts of our ego that we cherish? Here, our parts of our ego, we cherish this and that is our ignorance. We are not knowing that it is because of the consciousness, everything is conscious. Because of that consciousness, everything appears to be conscious. Because of that being full of joy, everything appears to be joy. Less joy is suffering. Suppose we have an optimum idea. This much is good. Below that we call bad. But there is not bad. This is called light. Little less light, less light, less light. And minimum light, that's also almost close to darkness. That's also light. But intensity is less or more. So, how to let go of the parts of our ego that we cherish, we will have to see it is a focus on the consciousness. In me, through all our experience, it is the play of the consciousness. It is play of the consciousness. See, one identifies with being funny or being caring, etc. But it becomes a limitation. Everything is limitation. Except in God, everything is limitation. That means simple thing that we have to think of the consciousness day and night, which we call think of God day and night in another language. Here you see that how my hand, feet movement is happening because of some consciousness. And that same consciousness is for my vision, same consciousness for my hearing. Unless it is unified consciousness, how we'll coordinate all this perception. Understand? My eyes are seeing one thing, my ears are hearing another thing. Who coordinates? If there are different consciousness, then nobody will be there to coordinate. But we get coordinated experience. That's why that consciousness is the permanent consciousness, which we have to focus on that. Okay. So thank you all.
Tomorrow Medhananda printed. Medhananda's name.
Medhananda. Okay, so tomorrow, most probably it seems Medhananda Swami is giving the gospel class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
আমাদের 7 থেকে 10 থেকে কত হলো?